Jaya Radha Madhava Kansa Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kansa Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Giravaradari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Giravaradari. Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kansa Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kansa Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Giravaradari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Giravaradari. Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yasoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Yamuna Tira Vanachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kansa Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kansa Bihari. Jayam Swa Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pavajakacharya Asatar Satasi Simad Abhay Charnarvinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jayam Swa Vishnupad Paramahamsa Pavajakacharya Asatar Satasi Simad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnavina Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasati Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakun Radhakun Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai. Sri Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Navadvip Dham Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Yamuna Mai Ki Jai. Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Shri Shri Gaur-Nitai Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Guru and Gauranga. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 17, Punishment and Reward of Kali. Text number 28. Iti Dharmam Mahim Cha Eva Sanvayatva Maharata Nishatam Adade Kadgam Kalaye Adharma Hetave Iti Dharma Mahim Chaiva Santayatva Rata Maharataha Nishatam Adade Kadgam Kale Dharma Hetave Iti Dharma Mahim Chaiva Sanvayatva Maharataha Nishata Madate Kadgam Kale Dharma Hetave Iti Dharma Mahim Chaiva Sanvayatva Maharataha Nishata Madate Kadgam Kale Dharma Hetave.
Iti dharmam mahim chaiva santrayitva maharataha nishatam adade khadgam kalaye dharma hetave.
Iti Dharma Mahim Chaiva Sanvayatva Maharataha Nisatam Madate Kadgam Kale Dharma Hetave.
Iti dharmam mahim jaiva santvayitva maharataha nishatam abade kadgam kalaye dharma hetave.
Iti dharman mahim chaiva santvayitva maharataha nishtatam adade kangam kilye dharma hetave.
Iti dharmam mahim chaiva santvagitva maharataha nishatam tade kadgam kalaye dharma hetave.
Iti dharmang mahim chaiva sandvayitva maharataha nishatam adade kargam kalaye dharma hetave.
Iti dharma mahim jaiva santvayitva maharataha nishitamadade kadgam kalaye dharma hetave.
Iti dharmam mahim chaiva santvayitva maharataha nishatam adade gadgam kalaye dharma hetave.
Iti dharmam mahim chaiva santvayitva maharataha ishatam adade khadgam kalaye dharma hetave.
Anyone else? Iti, thus, dharmam, the personality of religion, mahim, the earth, cha, also, eva, as, santvayatva, after pacifying, maharata, the general who could fight alone with thousands of enemies, nishatam, sharp, adate, took up, kadgam, sword, kalaye, to kill the personified Kali, adharma, irreligion, hetave, the root cause. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Maharaj Pariksit, who could fight 1,000 enemies single-handedly, thus pacified the personality of religion and the earth. Then he took up his sharp sword to kill the personality of Kali, who is the cause of all irreligion. Report. As described above, the personality of Kali is he who deliberately commits all kinds of sinful acts which are forbidden in the revealed scriptures. This age of Kali will certainly be full of all activities of Kali, but this does not mean that the leaders of society, the executive heads, the learned and intelligent men, or above all, the devotees of the Lord, should sit down tightly and become callous to the reactions of the age of Kali. In the rainy season, certainly there will be profuse rainfalls, but that does not mean that men should not take means to protect themselves from the rains. It is the duty of the executive heads of state and others to take all necessary actions against the activities of Kali or the persons influenced by the age of Kali. And Maharaj Pariksit is the ideal executive head of the state, for at once he was ready to kill the personality of Kali with his sharp sword. The administrators should not simply pass resolutions for anti-corruptional steps, but they must be ready with the sharp swords to kill the persons creating corruptions from the angle of vision of the recognized Shastras. The administrators cannot prevent corrupt activities by allowing wine shops. They must at once close all shops of intoxicating drugs and wine, and force punishment, even by death, for those who indulge in habits of intoxication of all description. That is the way of stopping the activities of Kali, as exhibited herein by Maharaj Parikshit, the Maharata. So this is the statement of Sutta Goswami in addressing the sages of Naimisharanya. Maharaj Parikshit was the ideal executive head of state, and there are many superheroes coming out of Hollywood. In the 1970s, there was Dirty Harry, and there was Spartacus, there was Spider-Man and Superman, but none of them can compare to Maharaj Parikshit, because besides being powerful physically, he was a saintly person, and he was submissive to the Brahmins. This is the duty of the president or executive head of state, to be submissive to the Brahmins. Otherwise, without a head, the whole society is dead. In the recent news, there was the new king of the United Kingdom, King Charles III, and he was planning on going to a climate change summit meeting. He was planning on traveling to this climate change summit meeting, but his prime minister forbade him to do so. So this is the system in the monarchical system, that the monarch is not absolute, but he's submissive to his ministers. And Maharaj Parikshit was submissive to his ministers and to his spiritual master, Sukadeva Goswami, and therefore he attained the highest perfection, and all his activities were exemplary. And the Lord comes to this world to give pleasure to the devotees and to annihilate the miscreants. And the Kshatriyas also have the same mission, to give pleasure to the Brahmins and the devotees of the Lord, and to annihilate the criminals. So this statement might seem harsh in a modern democracy, but we can see the result every day. The citizens are suffering more and more at the hands of criminals. There's all kinds of criminals: murderers, rapists, thieves, all kinds of internet scammers. This is because there's no Kshatriya like Maharaj Parikshit who can annihilate the miscreants with a sharp sword. Nowadays, our present president is going in the opposite direction. Last week, he declared that I will no longer criminalize the possession of marijuana. So he's encouraging intoxication. That means he doesn't know how to benefit the citizens. He's a blind man trying to lead the blind, because the citizens are fools and rascals. They want the legalization of marijuana. That means they're calling their death very near, according to Bhagavad Gita. One purport Prabhupada writes that those who try to imitate Lord Shiva by taking ganja or marijuana, they're calling death very near. Lord Shiva can drink an ocean of poison because he's very powerful, but we cannot imitate Lord Shiva. Prabhupada said that the hippies got their habit of taking marijuana Shivites in India. But a devotee of the Lord who follows the Shastras, he doesn't take any intoxication, not even tea or coffee or cigarettes, what to speak of hard drugs like marijuana, cocaine, fentanyl. There's so many citizens are dying of drug overdoses. Every year, hundreds and thousands of citizens are dying from drug overdoses. And the president is encouraging this. The government is encouraging this because they're providing stations with free needles. And in the schools, they're providing free condoms to the teenagers so they could indulge in illicit sex without undergoing some reaction. So this is harmful to the citizens because it's degrading them morally, and it's shortening their lifespans. It's bad for the health. It's bad materially and spiritually. When I was growing up in the 1950s, there's only one place where a person can buy liquor or beer, and that was the government authorized state store. There was no alcoholic beverages in any convenience store or supermarket. And in the 1920s, there was a prohibition of alcoholic beverages, but it was not successful because the people's hearts were not clean. Therefore, they wanted to indulge in intoxication. But the Krishna consciousness movement is a positive alternative by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And by honoring Krishna Prasadam, one's heart can be clean. By hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, one's heart can be clean so that he's receptive to the principles of the Shastras. So we can see today that some of the Asian nations don't allow any intoxication or cigarettes or alcohol, and their society is much more peaceful than in the Western societies. And anyone caught selling drugs is executed. So this is the duty of the executive head of state. And Prabhupada also says, in the light of the Bhagavata, that the executive head or the president should be no older than 50 years because he has to be physically fit to punish the miscreants. So, according to the Shastras, one should retire after the age of 50 years. But nowadays we see all over the world, there's a tendency now for gerontocracy, governed by these old geezers like our president and president of China, president of Russia. They're all old men, and they're too feeble to physically fight, so they send mercenaries to the battlefield, and the mercenaries are not encouraged to actually fight because their own president never goes to the battlefield. But a Kshatriya like Maharaj Bricket, if there's a war, he's the first one on the battlefield. He leads the charge. And if the opposing king is killed, then the whole war is finished. Just like the Battle of Kurukshetra is finished in 18 days. It doesn't go on for years and years like the modern wars. The war in Afghanistan dragged on for 20 years, and it was ultimately a failure for the Western countries. Are there any comments or questions? Yes, Bhakta Jia.
Hare Krishna. I had a comment and a question. My comment was that I was reading in Srimad Bhagavatam, and there's this purport in the 10th chapter, I think it is, where Krishna returns to Dwarka, and it was saying in the purport that there were like brothels, because especially even in Dwapara Yuga, because there's a necessity for them, because there will always be people who need, that illicit connection with the fair sex or something like that. And they were saying that Prabhupada was saying that that's the same reason why we need alcohol houses too, because there's always going to be people who indulge in these kinds of sinful activities. But if we try to prohibit these things, like what they did in the 1920s, people are going to indulge in these things whether we like it or not. So it's always good to have. That's what Prabhupada was saying, was that it's always good to have these kinds of places where people can go to so that they can exhaust their desires. And so, yeah, that was my comment. And then I had a question. So how can we change the world practically, besides preaching, like distributing books? Like, that's a big part, but how can we like actually spread this message so that it's a household name again?
Good question. To change the world, first I have to change myself, and by purifying the heart, by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. This kills the sinful desires in the heart, and ultimately, by developing love for Krishna, this is what the world needs, is love. And love means love of God. If one loves God, one could love all living entities, all races, all different nations, all species of life, even insects. This is what's needed in society today. And in the Vedic society, it was guided by love more than laws. Just by enacting laws is not sufficient, because without love, the criminals won't want to follow your laws. But if the citizens love the king, then naturally they'll follow all the laws of the king. So in the Vedic society, there was a smooth cooperation between the Brahmins. Brahmins and the sannyasis are meant for the spiritual upliftment of society, and the Kshatriyas are meant for the material upliftment of society. And the Vaishyas produce the food and clothing, and the Shudras help the other classes, and there's complete cooperation. There's no resentment in the pure Vedic culture, and there's an etiquette. The Brahmins are addressed as Panditji, just like the first prime minister of modern India. He was called Pandit Nehru, although he was born in a Brahmin family, but he was lacking Brahminical qualities, but still he was called Pandit, because this is the etiquette. Brahmins should be dressed as Pandit. And the Kshatriyas are dressed as Thakur, and the Vaishyas are dressed as Saith, and the Sudras are dressed as Mahajan, because if you call them Sudras, they'll get angry. So out of etiquette, the other classes address the Sudras as Mahajan. And there's complete cooperation. There's no anger, and all the citizens are satisfied because there's love of God. The center of the society is the Arsha Vigraha, Sri Sri Gauranatai, or Sri Sri Radhakrishna, or Lakshmi Narayan, or Sita Ram. If the center is Krishna, then there's full cooperation from all the members of society. And although there's always that tendency for illicit sex and intoxication and meeting and gambling, it should be done according to the regulations of the Shastras. Just like if one wants to eat meat, he could slaughter a goat one day a month and offer it to the goddess Kali, but he could never be allowed to slaughter a cow or a bull. And Prabhupada said that if one desires to eat a cow or a bull, he can wait till the animal dies. Every animal will die in due course of time, and after the cow or bull dies, we can give them the animal's body, and they could eat it, and they could use the hide for making shoes or mridangas or other objects. And if one wants to drink liquor, he can offer liquor to the goddess Chandi. And if one thinks that actually the nice taste of this wine or liquor is Krishna, he'll gradually make spiritual advancement. And it's better to have specified houses of prostitution than to encourage prostitution within this society. Like nowadays, the society is full of unchaste women. So this is very, very degrading to everybody. Okay, thank you for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Time for the Sankirtan festival.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu. So we'll read the scores now for the pleasure of Sri Sri Gauranitai, Srila Prabhupada, Tulsi Maharani, and the Sampradaya Acharyas. This week of October 10th, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We had 7 book distributors.
Haribol!
We didn't get a score from one of them, so we actually have more points than we'll be saying right now. So, in sixth position,